We are diving deep today into one of the most powerful questions I think I've ever come across from the poet Mary Oliver. She asked, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Whatever your answer is, maybe leaving a job, starting something new, running some crazy race, or even just posting an honest picture online. The reality is, people, they're going to have an opinion about it. And way too often, just thinking about that opinion stops us dead in our tracks. So our mission today is to tackle that biggest roadblock, that fear of judgment, so you can actually live that wild life.
Yeah.
We're giving you the ultimate tool, really, to handle all that noise.
Yeah, and this fear, it's much bigger than we usually admit. It works silently, affecting almost everything, often hiding as something else. That fear of what people think, that's the invisible weight making you procrastinate on the big stuff, the meaningful projects. It fuels self-doubt, gets you stuck trying to be perfect, and honestly, it's the real root of all that overthinking. You basically become a prisoner to what you think other people might think.
Okay, right. Let's unpack that. The solution we're looking at today is, well, it sounds simple, but doing it. It's revolutionary. It's called the let them theory, where we pour so much energy into trying to manage everyone's thoughts and reactions. And this theory just says, stop. Give people the freedom to think whatever they want. Let them judge your choices. Let them disapprove of your clothes. Let them talk behind your back. Just let them. Right now, a lot of us are navigating life with this faulty GPS system. We're using these anticipated opinions as our roadmap, constantly checking, should I take the brave turn or the safe one? And the decision isn't based on what we need, but totally on predicting what others might think or say. We just systematically hand over our power trying to guess and manage their thoughts.
And what's so interesting here from a fundamental standpoint is that when we do that, we're fighting a basic law of human nature. You simply cannot control what another adult says or does or thinks. It's impossible. Trying to control someone else's inner world, it's frankly a huge waste of your time and your precious energy. But when you really lean into let them, just allow them their own thoughts, you stop fighting that unwinnable battle. And boom, instantly you get clarity. You get your power back. That's the shift. Okay, so I want you listening right now to kind of feel that freedom for a second. What's one change you'd make, genuinely, if you weren't worried about being judged? Like, what big challenge have you been putting off, or that tough conversation? What picture or business idea, maybe, have you had sitting in drafts for ages because you're terrified of that first comment?
That last point about the delay, waiting 2 years, that really hits home because the sources we looked at share this very specific story about professional paralysis. It's about a motivational speaker just starting out. She was facing massive debt, huge pressure, and she desperately needed to figure out how to go from just, doing her thing to actually getting paid for it.
Right. She needed a success formula. And in the speaking world, it's actually pretty clear cut. Every successful speaker tends to follow this path. 1, get a simple professional website up. 2, gather strong testimonials. And 3, this is critical, use social media. That's your main marketing tool. You got to post photos from gigs, show people you're actually out there doing the work.
Okay, but here's the hang up, the mental block that trips so many people up. She was terrified of using that obvious, proven path because she felt this intense pressure to be, quote, original, different. She was afraid people would just think she'd copied the formula from someone else.
And that's a perfect let them moment. The response is, so what? Let them think you copied. Formulas work for a reason. You're supposed to take the structure and then make it unique by pouring yourself into it. If it's proven to work, why on earth would you let this fleeting fear, this worry about being called unoriginal, stop you from achieving, say, financial stability?
Okay, but I hear a potential snag here. Doesn't the let them theory risk encouraging us to just ignore all criticism? How do we tell the difference between dismissing genuinely useful feedback and just, avoiding judgment?
That's a really important distinction. Constructive feedback is usually specific. It's actionable and often comes from a place of wanting to help. Like, hey, your audio was a bit unclear here. Or maybe try starting with a stronger hook. Judgment, on the other hand, it's typically vague, maybe emotional, often about your character or your worth. Things like, who does she think she is? Or that's so cheesy. If the comment doesn't really offer a way forward, chances are it's just noise. You can safely let them have that noise.
Right. And the sources detail how this speaker, even with the debt and the high stakes, she put off posting about her business on social media for 2 whole years. Wow. 2 years. All because she was terrified of what her friends might think. Who does she think she is? What a phony, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she talked about making hundreds of draft posts, constantly censoring herself, editing, deleting, trying to craft this perfect image that would somehow guarantee no negative thoughts from anyone she knew. It was exhausting for her. And it leads straight into the cycle of self-rejection because every time you silence your real voice or delete something you poured your heart into or just stay quiet in a meeting when you have something to say, you're actually rejecting yourself. That external pressure, it becomes this internal critic, amplifying your own doubts.
Let's just ground this in a bit of science for a second, because we need to really grasp how impossible this task of controlling others' thoughts actually is. The average person, they have something like 70,000 thoughts a day. 70,000. And most of them are random, just fleeting things, totally uncontrollable. You can't even fully manage the random thoughts popping into your own head half the time. So why would we ever think we could possibly control the random stuff popping into someone else's head?
Wow. It's like trying to, I don't know, direct rush hour traffic with just your hands. It's completely impossible and just exhausting to even think about. All that energy spent trying to manage their fleeting thoughts. That could have gone into building the business or learning that skill, or frankly, just getting a good night's sleep.
Exactly. And to really hammer this point home, we have to accept this kind of hard but also funny truth the research points to. Even the people who absolutely adore you, love you deeply, they still think negative or annoying things about you every single day.
This is where it gets really juicy, I think. Think about those classic examples they use. The partner who, does something gross in the morning and the thought is, ugh, you're disgusting, but you still love them. Or the dog. You love the dog fiercely. But yeah, sometimes it's genuinely annoying, especially around dinner. Or maybe your kid is being a total control freak in that moment or rude before they've had their coffee.
Right. And why is knowing this, that annoyance and deep affection can live side by side? Why is that so freeing? Because it proves a point. Just because someone has a negative thought about one specific thing you did, maybe your kitchen's messy, or you left a party early, or made a business choice they disagree with it, doesn't mean they feel negatively about you as a whole person. Two things can be true at once. You can love someone to bits and still be irritated by or disagree with something specific they do. And guess what? That same truth applies to how others see you. So let them judge the action.
Yeah.
It's not about your fundamental worth.
Okay, but let's be real. Applying let them gets hardest when family's involved, right?
Yeah.
Family dynamics are, well, they're this interconnected system, super sensitive. And any big change you make, like a divorce or marrying someone outside the expected norm, maybe choosing a really different career, it sends shockwaves through that whole system. Plus, family members, they're often way more blunt. They feel kind of entitled to their opinions because, they have a huge stake in your life, your happiness.
Absolutely. And to navigate those really high stakes relationships with just, cutting ties, the material introduces a really helpful tool. It's called the frame of reference. This idea, you hear people like Lisa Bilyeu talk about it. It's basically a framework for understanding the unique lens, the perspective someone else is using when they look at your decision or situation. It helps you move past feeling personally attacked and start understanding where their reaction is actually coming from.
So how do you figure out their frame of reference? You have to ask yourself some key questions, right? Like, what is this person genuinely afraid of? What do they lose or what are they scared of losing because of my choice? And crucially, what past experience do they have that's shaping this specific opinion right now?
Precisely. Let's use your personal example, the one you shared about telling your mother you were getting married. When she said, I would never have picked him for you, that must have felt like a total rejection of your partner, of your choice. Just devastating.
Oh, it was incredibly painful at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my mid-20s, and I instantly felt like, wow, I failed as a daughter. I've disappointed the most important person. It honestly took me years, probably until my late 30s, to look back with this frame of reference idea and realize that reaction. It wasn't actually about me. It was entirely about her history.
And what was her history?
Well, she had left home herself when she was only 17, got married, moved far away, started her family miles from her own parents. And she rarely saw her relatives again after that.
Oh, okay. So when you announced you were marrying someone from the East Coast.
Exactly. It triggered her deepest, probably unhealed fear that I, her daughter, would do the same thing, move far away, and she'd basically lose me. Her first reaction wasn't really judging my partner's character. It was her own grief and fear talking based on her life.
And seeing that, understanding her frame of reference, that's where you get your power back, isn't it?
Completely. I realized, okay, she did support me deep down. She was just terrified of losing me. And that understanding allowed me to respond with grace, not defensiveness. Her fear didn't have to become this huge power struggle between us. It just made space for both our feelings to be true at the same time. And you can extend that kind of grace to other tricky situations like, say, step parenting. If stepkids are nervous or withdrawn, maybe they see you as a threat to, the family they used to have. Let them feel that.
Yeah.
Acknowledge their fear is normal. They're probably grieving. But then the focus flips to the let me part. Let me be the steady, compassionate adult here. When you focus on showing grace consistently, you operate with less defensiveness yourself. And over time, that commitment to your values can really shift the whole dynamic. So the ultimate goal here with this whole theory is to stop constantly reacting, to get off the defense and onto the offense in a good way. It's about making decisions proactively because they make you feel proud, not just reacting out of guilt.
Yeah, the sources have a great, very relatable example for this. Balancing a friend's birthday party, it's a 4-hour drive away with a family visit, which is another 4-hour drive in the other direction. So you try to please everybody, you race between them, right? Leave the birthday party early, speed over to the family thing, and by the end, you're just completely wiped out.
Right. And in the moment, you feel kind of proud, like, wow, look at me juggling it all. Then later you find out the birthday friend was actually kind of bummed you left early, and maybe your mom was disappointed you missed seeing your grandma arrive. You bent over backwards, exhausted yourself, and still didn't manage to make everyone perfectly happy. And probably let yourself down somewhere in there too.
And this is exactly why that internal shift is so crucial. When you start aligning your actions with your values, what truly matters to you start feeling proud of yourself, authentically proud. And when you feel proud of yourself, those external opinions, they just lose their power to knock you off balance. That's where your strength lies.
That's the secret sauce right there. Don't go to the friend's party just so they think you're a good friend. Go because showing up for your friends aligns with your value of community, and it makes you feel good about yourself. And don't drive home to see your parents purely out of guilt, because when you do that, you kind of make them the villains in your story, right? Go because prioritizing family connection makes you happy, makes you proud. And if you do that, then the external noise, even mild disappointment from someone, it just doesn't hit the same way. It doesn't matter as much.
Exactly. The focus moves from let them think whatever to let me. Let me live my life in a way that aligns with my values and makes me proud. It's like a 3-step process inside your head. 1, notice the external pressure or expectation. 2, get clear on the core value that's actually important to you in this situation. 3, choose the action that lines up with that value. When you start doing that consistently, you clear out so much mental clutter. You make space for your own voice, your intuition, your truth to actually be heard, your own values, your needs, your goals, that becomes your reliable roadmap instead of constantly trying to guess and react to everyone else's unpredictable thoughts.
Which brings us right back to Mary Oliver and that beautiful question. You really do get just one wild and precious life. And this theory, this shift in focus, it's a powerful key to actually reclaiming it. So remember the 2 core truths here. First, yeah, people are going to have negative opinions sometimes. Let them. They can't control it. And honestly, a lot of the time it's more about them than you anyway. And second, when you shift your focus inward, align your actions with your own deep values, that's when you gain real power. Focus on let me do what makes me proud.
And maybe, just to connect this to the really big picture, the sources we looked at suggest something profound. People can generally only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. Think about it. Many adults, maybe even most, who are quick to judge or criticize, they often haven't done the hard work of understanding their own past stuff, their wounds, their fears. They're just operating, doing the best they can with the emotional tools they currently have. So if you know that, if you can accept that the person judging you is often just projecting from their own unhealed place, how does that change the power you give their judgment? When you truly realize their comment is a reflection of them, not a definitive statement about you, well, then you're